Welcome to We Hear Her. I am Erin Trenbeth Murray.
And I am Jennifer Bean.
We're here today with another amazing woman who's sharing her story and insights to lessons learned. Hi there, I'm Erin Trenbeth Murray with the We Hear Her podcast for women who succeed. I'm glad you're here today as I'm going to be interviewing my friend Wendy Ogden. Our kids were friends together. I've admired Wendy with her professional career, and I'm so happy that she's been able to find some time to be with us. So Wendy, thanks for being here. And I'm going to ask if you would share a little bit about your background, your experiences.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So I have a undergrad in graphic design. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia. From there, I worked as a graphic designer for a few years and really realized I was much more of a marketer and had a passion for marketing. I love good design, but I'm just not a graphic designer. So anyway, went to Westminster for grad school, got a master's in marketing communication, have spent, the last 15 years of my career working in product management, product marketing. Most recently with Young Living, I was able to manage products that I absolutely love: skincare, beauty products, cosmetics, personal care products, body butter, things like that. So definitely have a love of products, love of marketing, love that I can combine both.
That's the coolest thing ever. I didn't know you had a graphic arts background.
Undergrad, yep.
Wow. It's like resonating, but what a perfect marriage of the two.
Yes. It actually is because, in product management and marketing, you're always working with design.
Yeah.
You always want to have good design. You want the best look and feel. And so just having that foundation background has been super helpful.
You can look at it and have that visual artistic,
Yep.
that niche for it. Well, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So Wendy, we share a love of travel and friends and ute games and things like that. But you have a brand new adventure. You have a new little project up north. Tell me what inspired you to do your little fantasy village.
So I had always dreamed of having a vacation house, always. And it just, for years I thought, oh, wouldn't that be the coolest thing? Number one, to be able to go away on vacation to escape. Number two, to leave a house for your kids and their kids and kind of, leave a legacy that I just thought would just be so cool. So over this past year, I built a vacation house in Bear Lake, Utah. So really fun to go up there, easy drive, about 2.5 hours from Salt Lake. And I thought, I want this house to hopefully pay for itself. I want to enjoy it as much as possible. So I decided, when I'm not using it, when my family's not using it, I'm going to Airbnb it. So it's kind of a business venture as well.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to watch it. I really, put my passion towards decorating and actually marketing as well into the house, and really made it a vacation destination and very enjoyable for, all levels of families. All different generations of families can use the house. So
well, I've loved watching the pictures because it was like the lot, then the foundation.
Yes.
And every time I've talked to you, you've been really energetic about it.
Yeah.
And I love construction. So what a fun project to get to see to come to fruition and know how you and your children are going to get to enjoy it.
Well, we were just there for Thanksgiving and had a couple different generations. And so, people who want to go downstairs and play pool and just have a fun time can. People who want to stay upstairs and have quiet time by the fire can do that. So really fun. And it was funny, I have never lived in a new house in my entire life. I've always lived in old houses. I grew up in the military, so certainly no new houses. I've lived in older apartments in Seattle and older apartments in Savannah, Georgia. Even my house right now in Salt Lake is 1950s. So to build a house that's brand new, and I know nothing about building, but I sure do now.
Yeah.
It was just fun and a really cool experience and a really cool learning adventure.
Right. Isn't that fun too? I feel like at my age, it's really fun to to get that intellectual stimulation of
Yes.
a topic you weren't familiar with, and you're like, wow, I can still learn. Look
Yeah.
at me.
Absolutely, yeah. At 54, I am still
Yeah,
learning and
yeah.
happy to be learning. So yeah, learned all about plumbing fixtures and electricity and drywall and all that kind of stuff. So it was
Fun.
it's been a fun project.
Well, good. Well, you talk about the generations and
Yes.
family, which I know is so important to you.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were speaking earlier today. We were talking a little bit about your mama.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about her and her influence on you.
So my mom, I don't want to get teary, but I might.
No, it's okay.
My mom has been a huge influence on my career, my life, how I approach even education. So when I was little, my mom was our elementary school library helper. So she was always at my elementary school. I loved it. And she was just the helper, helping the librarian. Once my brother went to school, she had more time on her hands, so she became the secretary, basically, back then in the principal's office. Mm-hmm. And this was early 80s, probably late 70s. And one day the principal said to her, you're really good with this office stuff. Have you thought about going to college? And my mom thought, college? I have 2 kids. And no one had ever mentioned going to college to her or encouraged her to pursue anything. She thought Anyway, so she took that one person saying, you're good at this, you're smart. Have you thought about going to college? She enrolled in our local community college in Virginia, did 2 years of an associate's degree, went to school at night. It really rocked my family because we had a very traditional 1950s family. My dad worked all day, he was in the Marine Corps. He came home, dinner was on the table. We would have dinner, my parents would watch the news. Well, this shook it up because now my dad had to learn to cook. He had to provide the meal for his 2 kids. Really rocked him out of his comfort zone. One of the best things that came from it was he was a really good cook. And meanwhile, my mom would go to school at night. So anyway, she graduated with a computer analyst degree. And I remember watching her go shopping for professional clothes. She took me shopping for suits.
Oh, wow, that's big.
That was huge. And to, just to watch this cute, homemaker, library helper, secretary at my elementary school and go into a professional role, professional clothes, professional look and feel. So it was really cool to watch. She took me to work with her. I think she worked just outside of DC, and she took me to work with her one day. And this was way before Take Your Daughters to Work Day. She just came up with that on her own, and she thought it was important for me to see her at work and to meet the people that she worked with and to see her in a professional environment. So that memory sticks out in my mind. It was just so cool when I think about it now, that she had that foresight to say, I want to share this experience with my daughter so she too can then someday go to, understand it's good to be professional. So anyway, she's always been super encouraging, encouraged me in every way. She's my biggest cheerleader.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you're a little teary-eyed.
Yeah.
That's it's neat when the women that I talk with, when there's like a mother or grandmother, someone maternal
Yes.
in their life that resonates with them so much. Now you have 2 kids.
Mm-hmm. Daughter and a son.
Have you ever taken them to work?
Yep. I've taken them to work. I took my daughter to work a couple years ago. She loves beauty products and loves skincare. She just finished a program in esthetician school. And so I took her to work with me and let her sit in on some of the meetings, the discussions with the R&D team to talk about ingredients in some of the skincare that we were doing. She was enthralled. She would never admit that, but she really had a great time. And I also would bounce ideas off of her for names of cosmetics and cosmetic products. It was interesting when I first started the job at Young Living. I started as a director, and I was going to a director's meeting, and I just mentioned it to my daughter, and she said, "Oh, how many directors are women?" And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Let me look." At the time, there were 40 directors and above. 10 of them were women.
Oh my God!
Rocked my world because I thought, wait, where are the women in management? Yeah. So I started a women's leadership network. You were our first speaker. Started a women's leadership network at Young Living because I thought this is so important. We really need to promote these women. We need to give them tools to, grow their career, speaking tools, how to grow your career everything like that. So created this group, and I loved it. A lot of the women at Young Living would come up to me and say, I love this, I'm so glad you're doing this, but invited speakers from, my professional background,
Yeah.
and had them come and speak on topics that are relevant to women in the workplace, and really helped guide quite a few careers.
I love that, because so really, in essence, you already came up with the idea for Women Who Succeed way before it's time.
I wish.
But yeah, no, that's so amazing and perfect that you could see it and want to make something to help them grow and develop. And I feel like that's kind of a gap that we have in Women Who Succeed that we need to look at. It's kind of this 25-year-oldish range to 40. So we have these professional women or established women in the community leaders in some regard. And then we have college-age girls, young women, and below, high school, middle school. But I just had a young woman reach out to me recently. She's 26, and she was like, I need some guidance.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where to go.
Yep.
Someone told me to call you.
Oh, I love that.
I know. And then I'm like, oh, we don't actually have that in our tool.
For that age group, yeah.
In our tool belt, and we need to figure out how to do that. And who would be better to lean on than you for me to get some so we could create something for those young professional women that are just starting out and navigating their careers.
Yeah, we had our mentor meeting last night in my 3 mentees, and we talked about networking and how important it is to network. And one of my mentees is just out of college, and she has her first job. She has her first professional job, Annika Tanner. And then my other 2 mentees are still in college. And so it was interesting to talk about not burning bridges, creating that social network and creating that professional network, and just the importance of networking and having guidance, especially when you're beginning your career. Having somebody tell you, don't burn bridges. Having somebody tell you, what never to post on LinkedIn or what to post on LinkedIn, things like that. Just somebody.
Or LinkedIn is not the same as TikTok.
Exactly, exactly. So anyway, it's this mentorship program has been really enriching for me as well. Just to be able to help these young women in their career as they grow.
Were they receptive to the
Absolutely.
conversation?
Yeah, it was a really
networking?
engaging conversation, and really interesting. Because again, to your point, TikTok is different. You post different things on TikTok than you should post on LinkedIn, and how to keep it professional and never burn bridges and never, and we talked about the importance of a social group that is different than your professional group, because there's going to be days when you're frustrated or you're frustrated on the job. You don't share those conversations at work. You have a social network or 1 or 2 or 3 close confidants that you can express your frustration and talk through work things outside of your actual profession.
Oh, that's such good guidance.
Yes.
Right? Because you see so many people blend to such a degree that then there's no boundary, and it's really hard. And especially, I think, young women who maybe appear and then get promoted.
Yes,
they really struggle with well, now I'm her supervisor.
Yes.
We used to talk all the time, and
I've been in that situation, and I've had that happen to me as well, and it can be a little awkward. But I've had some amazing work friends, people who I hope are in my life forever.
Yeah.
So, but you do need that kind of confidant group, or even 1 or 2 or 3 people that you really can trust that are outside of your work environment.
Do you find, when I was in my 20s, I was pretty bold in, people might say aggressive. I don't know who would say that. I would say assertive. But, and I learned very quickly in my mid-20s not to burn bridges.
Right.
Because, especially in Salt Lake, because it's so small.
Yes,
And in 2
or
more
any
years,
particular
you're going to run
industry.
into somebody.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Well, it's funny. I have gone back to 2 jobs that I left at one point. I was hired back for a different job because I left on good terms, because I had a good reputation at work, because I did a good job. And so a couple years down the road, I went back in a different capacity. So I think things like that are important. You just don't burn bridges ever.
In your professional career, when you think back, because I've got a few, but maybe it's just me, is there a time that you can think of that where you spoke your mind, and maybe it wasn't well received, and even to this day, or you wished you would have spoken your mind,
Yes,
and you didn't, And was that because, was there any hindrance because you were female? Was there any hindrance because you did you feel comfortable sharing your thoughts and ideas?
Yes and no. I think there was a situation a couple of years ago where we launched a line of product, where I was responsible for launching a line of products that in hindsight should have been different, should have chosen different products, should have pushed back on the executive level and said, you know, we really need to take more time. We really need to understand our target audience. We really need to not rush this. And instead we really rushed it. And I think now, you know, I think in hindsight, I wish I would have been more vocal saying, wait, this is exciting, but let's really understand what our audience wants, what our customers want before we just launch
Why do you
things.
think you didn't?
I was new to the company. I was about 6 months in.
Yeah.
Didn't really know, you know, the C-suite as well as I did when I left. And so in hindsight, I wish, if I was in that situation again, I would definitely say, hold the press, let's do our due diligence and really, you know, dive deep to make sure we're doing the right thing.
But when you're new, it's hard to know.
Yes.
Right? When, like you said, in hindsight.
Yeah.
But when you're first starting, it's sometimes difficult to know the boundary
Yes, exactly.
of really how hard you can push.
Yeah.
I find that, I mean, throughout my career, there are other times that I pushed it too far. And I was like, yeah, that, shouldn't have quite done that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to always figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What is
I don't
Wendy
know.
like in 5 years?
You know, I toy with the idea of starting my own company sometimes.
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
Little entrepreneur.
I really toy with that. I have to say, I love the past year of, you know, lots of interior design and decorating on this vacation house. I would love to do more of that. Even, you know, flipping houses and turning them into Airbnbs, I think would be really fun. So there's the product marketing side of me that, you know, who knows what that looks like, and maybe one day I'll start my own business. There's also this passion that I've always had for interior design and the idea of Airbnb and kind of creating a experience for people. So I don't know.
I like the way you.
It's always something creative.
Yeah, I like how you frame that. That was creating an experience for people, and I find that the older I get, the less stuff I want.
Yes.
And I just want the experiences.
Yes, exactly.
And if it's in a beautiful, comfortable space, it makes it so much more enjoyable, and you can really soak it in and have memories with your loved ones.
Yeah, I think that's true in products. You know, when I think back to my professional career, you know, you're creating an experience for someone. If they open that body butter, it's that experience when they first smell it. It's that experience when they first, you know, put it on, or any product that you have. Really, it's that customer experience. What does that packaging look like? What is, you know, how does it feel in their hand? What does it smell like? Kind of the same thing, you know, for the vacation house as well. Like, when somebody first walks in the door, you know, what do they see? Do they feel like, oh, I'm in a house like mine, or wow, this is different, this is new, this is neat? So all those little things.
Well, whatever your next adventure is, I know you're going to just crush it.
Thank you.
You get to pick your own path and destiny, which is so beautiful. I know it's going to have something to do with aesthetics and beauty.
Probably. I've always been interested in those things.
Right. Well, and I think that it reflects, honestly, in a symbolic way. You have, my mom used to say, pretty is as pretty does.
Yes.
And
very true.
You're beautiful on the inside and beautiful on the outside.
That's very kind.
You're so generous with your friends. I love seeing pics of you and traveling around, and I can tell that not only are they enriching your life, but you're really enriching theirs as well.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah. And I would agree. I've built an amazing network of people, as have you. So
it's a great place to be.
Yes, it is.
Well, that is it for our conversation with Miss Wendy Ogden. Thank you so much, Wendy, and we appreciate you listening in on the We Hear Her podcast for women who succeed, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for taking time to hear her. Join our efforts and learn more at womenwhosucceed.org. A big thank you to our sponsor, the Clark and Christine Ivory Foundation.